bedroom studio vibe. So yeah, it's really, as long as you have like a nice, clean, dry vocal, if you know how to vocal produce, you can make it sound good.
Nice. And did you mix the track yourself?
I mixed the track, yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about mixing a little bit?
Sure. I'm one of those people who mixes as they go, which like, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But when I'm producing, like I can't help but do that in the same session.
So do you have like a production template that has all your mixing stuff set up in it?
No, it's really just from like muscle memory, I'd say. Because I've been producing for a really long time, like since I was 10. So like my ear is trained to hear certain things. And now that I've been like working in Logic for so long, I can just remember like what needs to go on what, like how I need to mix this drum track, how I need to mix these guitars. It's like really comes from muscle memory at that point.
I find that with Logic a lot, I'm saving, I'll save like channel strips.
Yeah, I do that
like,
too.
It's super easy to just like, even if you don't have it in the right session, like I have my favorite reverbs and delays saved as like channel strips. So I could just add it.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
quickly.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I know like how my background vocals are supposed to sound. So I'll either like throw on a channel strip or like, it's just like, it takes a couple seconds, just like these plugins, this is what they're supposed to be at. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm amazed that you got such a crisp vocal, like, you know, with all the compression and all that stuff, like in a non-treated room, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find that to be super difficult. Like, if I can hear the room in the vocal, then I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, so the vocal is like from 2 different days because the first verse and the chorus is from the demo that I did, which I just tracked that really quick on like a podcast mic, I think.
Oh my God.
And then
like an SM7 or like one of those like Blue Yetis.
I have to ask my partner. It's the one that he uses for his Twitch stream. So I like ran in there and was like, I need to track these vocals real quick. My mic's not set up because I hadn't been working for a while. And he was like, okay. Then we just used that with like no filter on it, nothing. And so that was for like the first verse and chorus. And then when I went to like track the rest of the vocals, I tracked that on a tube mic. So somehow we were able to blend it so it didn't sound weird and sound like it was 2 different vocal takes. But yeah, it really comes in with the vocal production and the mixing.
Amazing. Do you, I guess in terms of like your mixing setup, do you do like a lot of stereo bus compression, or are you more like, do you do auxiliaries, or just like, what's your philosophy?
I'm really trying to get something, like I'm looking at it like a landscape painting, really. There's like everything, my eye is drawn towards the center when I'm looking at a mix. So like I'm making sure that everything is in unity, I guess. And then like the vocal is shining above everything else. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of like my philosophy behind mixing, because I'm really mixing as I go. So I'm just trying to achieve clarity in the song at that point.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, I'm really going for like polished. Even with like my grungier rock stuff, I've always been told that like it's a polished version of that. Like it's a pop leaning version of grunge, where like even though it has like those grungy Nirvana type spots in it, it still sounds polished and commercial. So I guess that's like my touch when it comes to mixing. I'm always like trying to go for like that super polished sound.
Yeah. So is that like a compression thing? Is that like a reverb thing? Is it like
It's probably a compression thing. I tend to overcompress things sometimes, especially my drums. Like 3 or 4 years ago, they would be so overcompressed. Now they're in much more of a sweet spot, but yeah. I play around with EQ and everything too.
Yeah, everything seems like it has a spot, you know what I mean? Like it seems like you're carving out a lot of space.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any practices that help you work faster?
I think it's just like at this point in my life, this is like so like second nature to me. Like I could produce something in my sleep at this point. Or like the more time you spend practicing and just like even just opening up a session and just doing something random. Like you teach yourself techniques. So I guess like, I don't know, sometimes I don't work fast and like it'll take me a couple days to really flesh out an idea. But I don't know, it's one of those second nature muscle memory type things where producing is just like, it comes natural to me at this point.
Yeah. Let's talk about your transition to LA. I guess, why did you choose to move to LA from New York? How have you been? I know you haven't been there that long, but like, how have you been finding it?
Well, I've been back and forth for a lot for sessions and music opportunities. So I had been coming to LA and I love it here. The weather you can't beat. So it was not just for like my career, but more for like my state of mind. Like I need to be somewhere where I feel comfortable and I'm happy and, you know, I write and I feel good about my music when like my mental health is like in a good spot. And I definitely need sunny weather for that. You know,
got out of New York just in time, right? Like
exactly. Oh my gosh. Every year I would get so sick in New York. Like I wouldn't be able to record vocals for months. So I was like, I can't do that again. Like I need to be healthy. I need to be good. Like
there's something weird about New York and like the winter. Everyone just gets so sad, and in the summer, everyone is so happy. Like if you go on the subway in New York City in like, you know, May, not in the pandemic, obviously, but like May or June or something, people are just like bopping, you know?
Exactly. I totally feel that. And in the wintertime, everyone is so angry, and it really,
gloomy.
really like brought me down. I just like I couldn't deal with it anymore. Where I've like come home, it's like 4:30 and it's dark out and I'm cold and I'm sick and I don't want to work on music. But whenever I would come to LA, I'd be like, I could do this all day. I'm good.
Yeah.
Then I can go outside and it's beautiful weather and I feel good. So that was a big part of it. And a lot of people told me, if you're going to take the next step in your career, I think you're ready to go to LA and like really pound the pavement there instead of New York and like expand your network. I already have I have a big network out here that's established. So just like finally being here and being available for sessions and meeting more people, it felt like the right time to do that.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Are you also like Dylan involved in like these like co-writes, like songwriting sessions with multiple people?
Yeah, for sure. Not so much during the pandemic. I have had my fair share of Zoom sessions, but they are very difficult. It's hard to get ideas across when there's latency. You know, you have to like record your idea and then send it in the group chat and then everyone listens and then they're like, okay, now I understand what you meant. Because when you're just playing something back in a Zoom session, 3 different people could have a different idea of what you just sang. Like, it doesn't start on the one. Like, there's this like crazy latency issue with Zoom sessions where like no one really knows where you like came in on the track when you're like singing an idea. So that's pretty hard. So Zoom sessions are a little bit difficult, but I have been doing those and I have gotten some good songs out of them for like other artists. And I've been doing all my production clients. That's all been on Zoom too.
Nice. Are the Zoom sessions a little better when they're like, I guess just one other person on the other end as opposed to like multiple people?
Yeah, definitely. When I'm doing like my production work, I'll do it on my own first. And then if they have notes, I'll do a Zoom session with them and I'll have the session up so they can see like what I'm working on and they can like actually like pinpoint like what they want done, what if they want changes made and things like that. It's definitely easier with just one person. Songwriting sessions are they're hard to do virtually. They're not that fun.
It's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same magic in the room.
Exactly.
I've heard people that love it. I've heard people that have had like success with it and maybe even prefer it, but it's it sounds very difficult to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I have had good ones, but for the most part, it's not the same as like they come to your studio and like you talk for a while first and figure out like where they're at in their head and like what they want to write about when you're working with like an artist. There's like this bonding thing that happens first. And a lot of good songwriting comes from like that little therapy session that you have before you start writing, where you like, you're figuring out the direction of the song, what's going on in your life, things like that. It's awkward to do that over Zoom.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Wait, so you said like people told you you're ready, now's the time to go to LA. What did that mean exactly? When are you ready to go to LA?
New York is a scene where they have a live music scene. That's great.
Yeah.
And then there's like the label scene where, the labels are there and they have production studios. You really need to have like a publishing deal or like be a very established producer to be getting in on those sessions. Whereas in LA, everyone's working. Doesn't matter where you come from or like what state you're in your career. You can really get yourself into a good session by proving that you're a good songwriter, you're a good producer, and knowing people and expanding your network. New York is very, like, what's the word? It's more exclusive to find that. I just felt like I outgrew the sessions that I was doing, where like I was in like a network where like I pretty much worked with everyone in that network and needed to start working with other people and like building more of, building my network outside of this little bubble of New York.
Yeah, I totally hear that. I feel like maybe I'm even at a place like that in my city where it's time to meet. Like, I know like the bigger scene in Israel is in Tel Aviv, not in Jerusalem. You know what I mean? Maybe it's time for me to head out there, but do I really want to go out to Tel Aviv?
Yeah.
It's a big decision to make,
Yeah, for sure. Like I basically left this like bubble of, great songwriters and producers and whatnot to expand on that in LA. And hopefully I can come back to New York and be able to get into these bigger sessions, have to prove myself a little bit first.
Yeah. Or you just stick it out and you love it. And that's that.
For sure.
Is there anything you've done in your career that like has helped you stand out that you'd maybe want to impart on other songwriter producers out there?
I think the fact that like I've involved myself in a lot of the creative process, that's gotten me a lot of attention, like with press. The fact that like I'm directing and editing my music videos, like I took the time to learn Adobe Premiere because I want to be able to like fully realize my own vision and be able to see it start to finish. Like, this is what I envisioned for this music video for my song. This is like, I helped get it there. So taking control over your creative direction, I think that's like a very valuable thing, especially now when like anyone can become a producer. Anyone can like put their songs on, put it out there on Spotify. So having that control and like making it look like a fully like commercially produced music video, and then they see it and they're like, oh, like you did that? Like you didn't work with a team on that, like a production crew? That's like one thing that definitely made me stand out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where do you draw the line? Like where do you feel like I can't do this on my own? And where do you feel like I can do this by the best by myself? So
I'm not a photographer or like when it comes to like being in front of the camera, great. Behind the camera, I have no idea what I'm doing. So yeah. I have a good network of photographers that I work with and people who do videography. So that is where like I need a team of people or not just a team, just one person who like really knows what they're doing, and that I can take that and make a full music video as long as I have footage.
Right.
So there, something like that is like, it's like producing music. You have your own tools and your own gear that you're working with and the skills that you've like spent years honing in.
Yeah.
So I like would need like a decade to become like a photographer at this point.
Yeah. You were telling me that you basically do like, I guess the last thing you can't do is management. Do you want to touch on like